Tim Barr, and with me is Gene Porterfield. We are the folks that have been conducting the reassessment in the county since 2010, and we're here. First, I think I'll give an update on the reassessment status. The field data collection process, which is the largest and most expensive part of any full turnkey reassessment, is 95% complete. We have only approximately 2,700 parcels more to visit in the master suite. We'll have follow-up quality control to do.
I believe that the data collection was supposed to be done the end of December, so we're extending it by 100 days. How is that going to impact what happens for us?
The original goal at the beginning of the project was to complete it by the end of the year. As we've met with our reassessment management team meetings and addressed issues of the weather and whatnot, we've revised that timeline. It's not a contractual deadline, but as far as how it affects the process, it hasn't. And the reason for that is the data entry and the quality control continues in tandem with the data collection process, and the neighborhood delineation and appraisal research also doesn't wait until the last parcel's been visited. So Gene's already been busy working on neighborhood delineation and valuation work in areas where the field work is long since complete. So it's a staged approach, if you will. The hope is that we're going to mail notices possibly as early as the middle of May. They're not required to be mailed until July 1st, but if we can send out batches and stagger them either throughout June or maybe even into May, we have been exploring that possibility.
So they won't go out all at one time?
No, our plan right now is to do them in smaller batches, only maybe a week or 10 days apart, but to do them in smaller batches to cut down on the load of the phone centers, and because everybody wants to call the first day they get their notice, and if possible we may stagger them. Will
they be released in the same order that they were visited?
But they would be released in school district blocks. In other words, if we did 2 mailings, there'd be 3 school districts and then 3 school districts the next time, something along those lines. The law changed significantly last year. They consolidated assessment laws. It took about, 6, 7, 8 years, I think, the assessors and the commissioners were working on that. So we have had in the plan to do a contract revision for this year to adjust for some of the minor differences in the law terminology more than anything else. Coincident with the preparation for that, I'm here to introduce Gene and I under a different moniker. We are with Evaluator Services and Technology Incorporated, and launched this as a new entity, acquired certain assets of 21st Century. The customers and clients of 21st Century have all switched over to get their services from EST. And as it relates to Lebanon County, EST, as we call it, has agreed to complete this project under the same terms of agreement as the original contract and for the same price. So there's no separation of service. In fact, although this was technically effective January 1st, here a month later we've got all of the process ironed out and the logistics, and have presented this revised agreement that we plan to do, but with another name at the bottom of it for your approval.
I do have a question. I heard you say that it's the same price, but on page 52, the prices clearly have changed for the hourly rates.
The hourly rates change annually. That's for extra services, which you haven't ordered any of. In other words, if you wanted us to do your data collection for you, which you haven't asked us to do any of that, there's the chart on page 52 is an a la carte extra services fee schedule, and actually that changes each year for all of our clients. The price of the original reassessment, which is a fixed price job, was $2.12 million. The county has paid approximately $1.386 million. That's not very approximate. Just under $1.4 million to 21st Century Appraisals. And the bulk, you say that's most of the money, isn't it? Well, yeah, that's most of the field work, that's the most expensive part. Leaving just under $734,000 left in the original $2.12 million budget, and that's the price that you'll find.
But even if you hadn't changed the name of the company and the organizational facts of your company, you still would have changed those a la carte numbers from the previous contract?
We do that
Where
every
does
year.
it say you can do that?
Why are we here today seeking to authorize a new agreement? That is the question that I have.
Well, the first reason is because that there are some terminology changes related to the changes in assessment.
Is that really the prevailing reason?
Well, that was the reason we discussed 3 or 4 months ago in the JMC meetings, because once that law passed, we were going to, actually, we could have done it as an amendment at that point to clarify. And because it's a new company entity, rather than doing an amendment to the original contract, we basically cloned the original contract and kept the language the same except for where we were amending things, and introduced that.
But the real reason we're asked to sign a new agreement is the circumstance with 21st Century has changed.
Yes, sir. It's to solidify the relationship between the county and this company. The original agreement technically permits 21st Century to assign the contract to EST of its own accord. We'd like the commissioners to affirm that and establish a more direct link in the fashion of this.
Well, I really feel put upon, considering the fact that the county has done nothing. The previous board authorized an agreement with 21st Century. The county has not deviated from that whatsoever. But you folks, through whatever rationale or reasoning, personal issues, management issues and so on, have chosen to change the name of your company. So now you're coming to us to authorize a new agreement. In my thinking, if you're asking us to sign an agreement that is exactly like the agreement that we had with 21st Century, that's something that we should certainly consider. But the fact that you would take license to change anything in that agreement offends me, to be honest with you, as a member of this board.
Need additional services. It was my decision to put the numbers in there that you will pay this year based on what our current rate schedule is. And if you read in depth into the contract, you will see that those change each year according to whatever our rate schedules are accordingly.
I had
And
asked
those
where
are,
that is.
if I might add, those are according to agreed upon understanding. In other words, if you come to us